Hey everybody, welcome back to Minecraft. With me. Today, I thought we would go into the Nether. Because we have a slight issue on our hands. The issue being that this is about as efficient as we can get a redstone repeater to be. And with redstone, you need repeaters a lot of time. So, we're going to go to the Nether, and we're going to mine some quartz, because this entire thing is a repeater built in Minecraft. But, if I have quartz, I can make a repeater just one block tall, or just one block. So, we're heading into the Nether. I'm going to offload some stuff before I go. Don't need my iron, I don't need apples, I don't need saplings. I might bring signs in case I need to tell myself the way to go. I'll bring some wood. Crafting table, I don't need the books. I'll bring the gravel for blocks. The water bucket won't be much help to me. I'll bring a boat instead. More blocks can't hurt. I don't need the wheat, and I don't need the redstone. Flint and steel in case the portal breaks. Bread in case I need to run back. Alright. Let's go get some quartz, shall we? It's been a while since I last recorded these videos. Part of that is because daily videos don't feel that hard when you're doing them every day. But then the moment that you stop doing them, your body just goes, just lets off all that steam that's been building up. Because when you do daily videos, and this is something I kind of knew going into it, but I still did daily videos for a bit. When you do daily videos, it just sucks everything out of you. And it's not bad. Like, I personally really like making these videos. But, you know, at some point you take a break, your body gets real comfortable with not making a video every day. But it was never the plan to completely leave this series. It was kind of always in the agreement that I was gonna do daily videos until I didn't. And that lasted about a week. And so now, we're gonna head up. I'm gonna try, oops, hello. I'm gonna try and go for daily videos if I can help it. But at the very least, I really want to get every other day type of videos. I didn't mean to take a screenshot there. Okay, so it's time to look for quartz. And I think I'm going to get quartz by mining up. So, up we go. How have you been? Kind of took, what I think, like 3 days off. Quartz. Kind of took a couple days off. Oh, I thought that was lava. How have you been? Have you been busy? Have you been not that busy? I know summer vacation is kind of kicking up for a lot of people, including myself. So, but usually, you kind of take a week or two off for yourself when summer starts, and then you kind of have to find something to do. Because, you know, you can't just sit still forever. Recently I went bowling with some friends. It was really fun. Well, we all sucked at bowling, but I managed to win one of the games. We played 2 games. I won one of the games by 2 points, and my other friend won another game by like 20 points. Because the second game, we started recording it. We recorded it, and we started doing these like cheesy lines. We did the same one over and over again. So like right before you bowl, one that I came up with was like, what do you call it when workers have unfair wages and decide to stop working as a form of protest? A strike. And I went for a bowl. I completely missed all the pins. But we started recording it just to get those cheesy lines. And the one that we repeated over and over again was it was what you say you bowl once and you don't get all the pins, so you go for your second turn. Hello. You go for your second turn when you're bowling, and you try to get a spare, right? So we all started repeating the joke. What do you call coins that you're not using? Spare change. going for the spare. It was all fun, and we basically none of us got spares when we said that. Like, there were 4 of us there, and only 2 of us got a spare. So that's why one of us won by like 20 points, because they were actually doing a really good job otherwise. How do you like bowling? Do you think to yourself, do you like bowling? I feel like a lot of people do like bowling, but a lot of people also kind of, I don't really know if I've heard much people say I hate bowling. But for me, I don't bowl that often, so every time I do it, it feels a little unnatural. Like you walk up to the, you grab your bowling ball, it's a little bit heavier than you remember it, and you walk up to the line, and you're like, oh gosh, I don't know how to throw a bowling ball. How do I do this? But you kind of just wing it, and you're probably not going to be great the first time, but you got 10 more brackets to go, and the fun part is all your friends are rusty too. So everyone kind of is scared, which makes a great environment for low judgment. Because I did catch myself. I caught myself being like, oh man, I'm so bad at bowling. Like trying to just like say like as like kind of a cover up. You kind of say that, you're like, oh, I suck at bowling. But everyone else was also like, no, like it's no problem. Like we all suck. So it was a really comfortable environment to just kind of have something where no one's particularly good at it, but everyone's having fun. Let's reposition ourselves. Let's be careful. Let's slow down. Right, they're scared of those mushrooms. This is the big takeaway I'm trying to get from this series, is to slow down. Don't just burn. If I can slow down and do things properly, I don't have to try again. I think that's a good lesson to learn. Back to bowling. Maybe you're really good at bowling. I know my friend, he recently bought a bowling ball. I think it cost him like $300 or something. Let's reposition. It cost him $300, and to be fair, he brought it and it was like, oh, that's a nice ball. Like you can kind of tell when, it's just the normal house bowling ball that, the bowling ball alley gives you. I don't want to say free, but, you don't have to buy the bowling ball. But I held his ball, which sounds a little sus, but I held his ball and I got to throw it a couple times. And I gotta say, it's a pretty nice ball as far as bowling balls go. It was actually pretty cool. He had this like towel and stuff, and between rounds he was like wiping it off. He was like, it's gotta be oily, but not that oily, because otherwise it won't slide if it's not oily enough, but if it's too oily, it slips out of your fingers. And I was like, oh, cool. It's kind of interesting, because I've never actually met anyone who takes bowling kind of seriously, which he's not like taking it super seriously, but he he got a summer pass for bowling at our local bowling alley. Ooh, that could have been bad. Reposition. Be slow. Be careful. Oh. Let's take a time to evaluate. Anyway. He got a summer pass for bowling. And so it was actually going to be more expensive if he or no, actually I don't think it's a money thing. I think he just wanted a bowling ball, which, like, fair to him. And it is really nice. It is nice to throw it. I've never met anyone who, like, has actually thought about taking bowling a little bit farther than just, like, you show up every now and then and play. But he's been playing pretty often, and it showed. He had, like, the whole technique of, like, grabbing it with two hands and spinning it, and, you know, hitting the, what's it called, like the 1-3 gap, where you can get a strike like every time if you hit this gap every time. He was trying for it every time, and he was pretty successful a couple times. But the problem is, if you mess it up, you get a gutter ball, because the whole point is you give it some spin and you aim at the right gutter. And if you don't give it enough spin, it just goes in the gutter. But if you give it too much spin, then you just miss completely. It's pretty interesting. And I tried the technique a couple times, and it's really difficult. Where's my boat? There it is. I want that back. Did you know you can't make a boat out of nether wood? I'm not a huge fan of that because it kind of doesn't make sense, but maybe I guess their rationale is like nether wood is fire resistant, but it's not water resistant. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, we can say that, like, netherwood is really porous and dry by design. Oh, this is not a good spot. Let's reposition, reevaluate. Let's not bite off more than we can chew. He has a crossbow, so I'll block myself off from all four sides. And here I am safe. I am not safe. Okay. Let's reposition, reevaluate. Here I am safe. When I saw that they were all three up there and able to climb up, I got very scared. But it's important to not panic and to know when to run away. Oh, I can just block my shield. What a great solution, look at that. That's not a great solution. Okay, piglins are scary. As I learned in the first or second episode, piglins are scary. Let's grab our higher saturation food out. Let's try not to die. I'm gonna make a run for it. I don't need to win this fight. I just need to survive. Scary. That was a lava gap that I just jumped over and got shot over. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna grab some of these. The nether is full of scary guys. But they're no match for me, because I'm smarter than all of them. It's a beautiful thing to be smart. And in Minecraft, you can deduce all of those guys' actions as just a couple lines of code. Maybe not a couple, maybe a lot. But you can describe everything they do with a few lines of code. What they do is deterministic. So, makes me smarter than them because I'm more random than them. You can't predict what I'm gonna do. And also, I can't predict life. I live in a life that is unpredictable. 1 minute it could be going your way, the next minute you could be, in a bad spot. 1 minute you could be in a bad spot, the next day you get a blessing. And all of a sudden, life is going great. Life is completely unpredictable. That's the normal for me. So when I jump into a game, I should keep in mind, these guys are simple compared to the life I live. They have rules. It's not like in real life. If you ever played a boxing game? In boxing, you know, in real life, you have no clue when a guy's going down. Like, not deterministically. You might be able to tell based off like the look in their eyes, but realistically, if you're boxing, this guy's gonna come at you with all his force. Or your opponent, I mean. And you have to go at them with all your force, and you just gotta hope that you're better than them. There's no deterministic factor of it. You just gotta hope and believe that you are better than the person standing in front of you. I do not trust that at all. But in Minecraft, the amount of hits I need to give a piglin before it goes down is the same every time. So I shouldn't be worried. Let's not do that. Never mind, straight down. That's one of those things that it's kind of like, it's one of the things that everyone knows. Everyone knows you should never mine straight down, but sometimes it's just a little too enticing. Sometimes you think, well, there's nothing down there, surely. Like, I'll be fine if I just do it this once. But you never know. I don't have any more netherrack. That's shocking. I'll use my gravel. Just block off that lava. It revealed some gold. Isn't that nice? I'm trying to think of a thing in real life that's like that statement, don't mine down, that everyone kind of knows. But even though everyone knows it, and everyone kind of accepts it as the truth, people still falter, Maybe it's like money can't buy you happiness. Maybe that's one of those things that like everyone's heard that. Everyone kind of understands why, but no one believes it. Maybe you think that, oh, I'm sad right now, let me go buy some. Doesn't even have to be expensive. Let me go buy let me go to Walmart and let me get like a pack of sugar cookies. Like something like that. That's not gonna make you happy. But it's so easy to tell yourself that if I go to Walmart and I spend a little bit of money on a little bit of sugar, I'm gonna be a little bit happier. But it just doesn't happen. What's the one thing that money can't buy? What's the one resource money cannot purchase? It might sound like the answer is happiness, which, sure. But I would argue ultimately it comes down to money cannot buy time. Time is the one thing in this world you cannot change. And this music makes it sound really ominous what I'm saying. But money, truly, cannot change time. And time is a very beautiful thing. Wow, this feels like what I'm saying is like interstellar levels of like cinematic. Money can't change time. And so for some things, like where time is the only thing that's going to heal you, maybe time is the only thing that you have as a constant in your life. Maybe something bad has happened to you and the only thing you have that's not different or not changed for the worst. For the worse? Do you say worse or worst? I think it's worse. Not it's without a T. No matter what, time is predictable. Time is actually the most predictable thing in our world. Time is genuinely like not a mystery. Because you know why? Because we kind of made it up. Not to say, you know, something happening now is different from something happening then, and things don't take a certain amount of time to occur, but like, low-key, we invented time. Sorry, that's my chair. I just got a new chair and it's really squeaky. Time is just one of those things that's very predictable because we made it. Just like Minecraft. We made Minecraft. And we can kind of predict it. You know, if I get a stopwatch and at 12 o'clock noon I turn it on and I don't stop it until 12 o'clock midnight, 12 hours later. I mean, I already said it, but like, what do you expect to be on that stopwatch? 12 hours, right? Maybe you can take solace in that idea. The idea that your life might not be the most predictable thing, might not feel predictable at all, it might not even feel like you have any control over your life. But maybe you should just look at time. See the way that it doesn't falter. See the way it's been so consistent for so long. The one thing that might catch you off guard is like a leap year, but even that you can predict. And even that is once every like 1200 days. It's a long time between leap years. Maybe you can take solace in that. Maybe that's why scheduling out your week is so nice, because you know for a fact that at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, I have, I plan to go grab some groceries. And then at 1 p.m. on Saturday, just a couple hours later, I plan to go see some friends. And maybe your friends don't show up. Let's assume the worst, right? Let's say you don't even, those plans get canceled. Time still ticks. Your friends may have canceled. You may have canceled. Etc., etc. But time didn't. Time is always there. Always right. What hit you? Oh, I don't know. But we're gonna get this ender pearl. Maybe you can find some comfort in that. Maybe instead of believing everyone's let me down, or I've let myself down, maybe it can be a little easier to think, well, let's think about the things that didn't let me down. Time. Time worked, like it always has, like it always will. I don't really know where I'm going with that, but I thought it was kind of nice to think about. Kind of nice to talk about. Maybe it can feel scary though. Maybe the idea that time will never stop is a little scary. Maybe you're thinking, I'm gonna grow old and time will have just passed me by. I'll be a blip on the radar and I will have accomplished, maybe this is going through your head. And I feel that. It's a very relatable feeling, I think. A lot of people sort of believe that if time is just ticking by, never faltering, maybe they see time as like the older sibling that you could never live up to. It's just always perfect. Never does anything wrong. And now you have to tread in the footsteps of time. Time, dude, those are some big footsteps, big shoes to fill. But maybe you don't have to fill those shoes. Maybe you can just exist in those footsteps. You don't have to fill out the footstep. I'm imagining like a Bigfoot footstep, something you can live in, or like a Godzilla footstep, like something gigantic that you could build a house in. You might never use all the space inside that footstep. You might use one spot as like a recreational area, You might put a pool table over there, play some pool, play some billiards. And you may not even go to that billiards pool that often, the billiards table that often, but who says you have to fill out every little bit of space? Who says you have to live up to time? Why does time dictate how accomplished you should be? Time is always going to pass by, right? And so maybe you're thinking that's what's scary about it, but I think that's what's beautiful about it. Is that you don't have to be like time, because time is already like time. Time is already constant, never stopping, never faltering. The work has been done. You don't have to do that. You just get to be you. Maybe that's comforting. I don't know. I'm just a guy playing Minecraft. I'm just a guy who overthinks and plays Minecraft. Maybe I'm wrong too. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's okay. I don't have to be right. I find full comfort in just thinking, being alone with an idea, exploring all of its possibilities. And when my mind quiets, well, I'm at peace. It's a wonderful thing to quiet your mind. And the way I've been accomplishing it recently is by making these videos. I get to talk for an hour, and then by the time an hour's up, I feel like, or actually by the time that like 45 minutes is up, I'm kind of ready to like call it quits and stop talking, but I keep talking no matter what. And it's nice because I exhaust myself when I make these videos. I talk and I talk and I talk and I talk until I think that no one's listening and people have already tuned out, but I keep talking after that. And when I finish recording, my mind is quiet. I've exhausted it. I've put my mind to rest. That's, for me, is a wonderful accomplishment because, wow, did that guest see me? What an eagle eye, dude. I don't want to take that fight. I don't want to take you through those fights. I think I spoke about this, but that's kind of the feeling I had when I left my first therapy session. I spoke and I spoke so long that it felt like I was not doing it right. I went so long and I kind of ran out of things to talk about. But I think that's the beauty of it. I think that's the beauty of therapy. And I think that's the beauty of just letting yourself talk, letting yourself think, being alone with your thoughts. It's not harmful. Sometimes you just need to let your thoughts flow and let them, feel no friction. You don't need to grind your mind into a pulp. Because I'm sure this is something I like to do, or, this is a habit I've had for a while, is trying to, think correctly, whatever that might mean. I try to have morals in my thoughts, and I try to think as if I was speaking to someone. I think that's integrity, right? If you imagine that everything you do, everything you think, everything you contemplate is a big deal, that's overthinking, and that's not very good. I've struggled with that for a long time, is giving myself such high expectations to just think perfectly. Again, whatever that might mean. And that's why I find these videos comforting to make, because it just gives me a little while to just talk and not worry if I'm right or wrong. I'm just talking. I'm letting my thoughts flow out, and I could be wrong. The whole thing with time and all that jazz that I was talking about, I could be so far from correct. But the one thing I'm not is uncomfortable. I'm just thinking out loud. And I thought to myself, well, if thinking out loud is a nice thing to do, maybe I should do it more often. And that's why I did these videos daily for a little bit. But, over this past 3 days or so, I went out with friends a couple times. I played games with my friends at night. I hung out. Oh, no, I hung out with friends twice over the past 3 days. 2 different days. My mind was quiet. So that's why I'm not really fixing myself to a schedule with these videos. I know I said I would try to do every other day at the minimum. And in full honesty, that's because I want this to take off. That'd be a beautiful thing. I would love that. I would love if I could make these videos all the time and get paid for it. That'd be awesome. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But that's why I'm giving myself a bit of a stricter schedule, because, like most people, I have goals. And like most people, money is a pretty necessary thing. And it'd be really cool if I could just do this for money, And this is not hard work. This is genuinely comforting for me. I get to comfort myself. Imagine I could make money by comforting myself. Basically, money by sleeping. That'd be so cool. You would never find me complaining about that. Genuinely, doing this, I never considered myself the type to ramble. I'm a very introverted kind of guy, but my mind wanders. I'm such an overthinker that, even though I don't like talking out loud to people that often, this is still comforting. This still is a nice practice. And this feels like a lot of quartz. I mean, for what it's worth, I gained about what, like 30 levels in the past 30 minutes. So that's pretty nice. Oh man, my pickaxe is almost gone too. Wow. I was not thinking about that at all. You know what I was thinking about. I was thinking about freaking bowling. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the best things I could ever do, and if people like it, if people choose to watch, I would love to do this. But back to what I was saying about, like, I don't want to fix this to a certain schedule. I have, for the sake of the aforementioned reasons, but if my mind is quiet, my mind is quiet. And that's a really nice thing for me. It's not a very how do you even say this? It's not a thing I've experienced that often. A quiet mind. A mind that feels like it has nothing to say. My entire life I've had something to say, but I've never said it. Like I said, I'm an introverted person. I would rather not say it, if I'm honest. But the beauty of YouTube for me is I'm really comforted by the microphone, by the camera. That's something I know a lot of people are not a fan of. A lot of people really don't like hearing their voice in recordings. I think I either just really like my voice. That's either the one part of me that's like really shallow. Because for the most part, I'm not a shallow person at all. I really like getting to know people, and especially like myself. I really like, I not even that I don't like how I look or something, but I much more appreciate how I think than how I look. But I think the one bit of me that's a bit shallow, or what's the word? Like, I don't think the word is selfish, but a bit objectifying. I don't know. Is I really like a nice voice, and I like my voice. And again, this could be because I have a nice voice. I think I have a nice voice, but I'm biased. Or maybe it's because I'm just really comfortable with my voice. And maybe it's a paradox. Maybe I like my voice so much because I'm really comfortable with my voice. And because I'm really comfortable and I like my voice, I'm not afraid to use my voice, and maybe that's what makes my voice beautiful. Who knows? Or maybe my voice is ugly. I don't care. I like it. Doesn't have to be pretty for me to like it. Still, it's mine. And gosh, I wish I had that mindset about so much more in my life. I don't care if it's pretty. It's mine, so I like it. Wow, I'm right next to... I just did a full-on circle. Is my portal like right down here? Not that I can tell. That scared me. I don't actually know where my portal is. Because I think what I want to do... I want to make a vault next to my house. I want to make a password protected door, which I'm not inviting anyone onto this world, but just hear me out. I want to make a password protected door using redstone. No tutorials. I want to figure it out myself. And I mean, that's really it. It's not about making the vault for me, it's about making the password protected door. As a computer engineering student, I find that part a little bit more interesting than the vault itself. Um, in my mind, I was kind of thinking that the vault would be made of obsidian, but that's also a lot of materials to gather. So I don't know if I want that. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh, I shouldn't stand there. I think that's these lavas all packaged up. There we go. Hopefully you won't hurt anyone else anymore. And now I'm arriving back to my home. There is a plane flying above my house right now. Wow, that is really loud. I'm gonna let the music mask out the plane. So I'm not gonna go home just yet. Let me continue building this. What should I put in the vault? I kind of didn't think about that. You know, it's a vault, so it should hold something important, but I don't know what that would be. There's my chair again. I dropped my pork. Oh my gosh, I keep doing it. Okay, I'm going back just to get my pork. I think I dropped like 3 through the portal. It's dark in my room when I record these videos, so, you know, apologies if I can't see my keyboard or I can't press the right button. Q and W are right next to each other. W is for walking, Q is for dropping. Maybe I should put the nether portal in the vault. That would be good. I think that'd be good because I really wanted to learn how to, wow. I wanted to learn to slow down in these videos. And having a password protected door might be helpful. And I could put the enchanting room in there. Ooh. I wouldn't mind that. Enchanting room and everything that's like scary and important, I could put behind the password. That could be interesting. Okay. Let's make some redstone. I think I need cobblestone. Which I don't have much of. Let me see. Repeater. Oh. That must mean... What does that mean? Oh wait, no, I can't craft it. Here. I need stone. Another plane is currently flying above. I'm gonna be quiet for a sec. The plane is now gone. Planes are really loud. You ever think about that? Like, a gigantic... I mean, what do people compare loud things to? A jet engine. So, I guess it's not shocking that planes are loud, but it is to me. So yeah, for redstone, I want to start by showing you the 3 fundamental gates in computers. The logical gates, if you will. These gates, you can kind of relate them to, in math, you do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Those are like the 4 fundamental like operations. In logic, those are the 3 fundamental operations, is and, or, and not. These 3... Oh! I put stone in there? last episode? I don't remember doing that. These three make up the fundamental, those three are the three fundamental operations of logic, and I think I need redstone torches. Let me see. Repeater. And a comparator. Oh, right. Oh no, the repeater doesn't need it. The comparator needs it. And I do want to show that off too. Okay. So I'm going to make 2 of these and 2 of the others. So I need 6 plus 4. I need 10 redstone torches, which means I need more sticks. A couple more. Let's go ahead and make 12 of these. Then let's go ahead and make 1, 2 of those. I also want to build, you know what, I'm going to start with this. I'm going to build a comparator in Minecraft. Like I'm actually going to build one. And based on the crafting recipe, I'm going to assume that it needs 3 redstone torches. Okay, so what is a comparator in Minecraft? Well, let's put it down and let's draw our signals. There's 3 signals for a comparator. One is your input signal. This is the signal that is going to come out the other side, basically. You can kind of think about it like this side is tied to this side. This is the second input signal. In a computer, you can kind of think about this as an if. It's a conditional statement. It's a comparator. It's comparing this with this. So what does it do? Let's take a look. I don't really have anything that's going to activate when I put redstone on it. So we'll just have to look at that, but I think that's okay. Boom. When this is powered, it goes right through. And that torch doesn't really matter for our use case right now. But when I power this, it stops it. No matter what, that will always be off when there's a signal coming in from the side. And I don't know if it works on the other side. It does. So, what can we take away? Well, under most circumstances, this signal is let through, but in the single case that this is on, that's off. That doesn't set anything through. So let's recreate this. Let me just keep this, right? So, we have an input signal. Put that there. We have an output signal. We have a secondary input signal. I'm actually going to put this down here. And I'm going to put the first input right there. Okay? So this one comes in and it goes that way. This one comes in and I'll actually put it there. Comes that way. And they somehow need to combine to create that one. So what needs to happen for there to be a signal coming out? Well, this one needs to be on and this one needs to be off, right? So if this one's off, I don't want it blocking this from turning on. Oh, and by the way, if you're turning on and off a signal, it's good to have a redstone torch there, because that'll negate it if you have power going to it. But basically, this needs to be off for power to come out the other side, right? And when this is on and this is off, power comes out the other side. let's think of a different scenario. What if this is powered on? No matter what, when this is powered on, there should be nothing leaving there. Essentially, what should be happening is that how do we do this? Me personally, I actually have no clue. I'm just kind of winging it right now. I think what I'm going to do is invert this signal. Or how do I do it? We do it like this. I'm going to go ahead and invert that signal. And I'm going to send it through. So in that way, in that sense, when this is on, the output is on. It gets negated here, but then it gets negated again at the end. And when I turn this off, the output signal turns off. Right? This is just a repeater, by the way. 2 torches stacked against, like, after one another. That's just a redstone repeater. So let's go ahead and make it a repeater. We have the technology. I just spent a long time in the nether for this. So, boom, I have a repeater. And then I can kind of turn this off and just let it go. So that's nice. But it's not perfect, is it? Because what happens when I just tie this here? Oh, nothing changes. So, as a matter of fact, I can't just use a repeater. I need to combine these logically. So let's see how I can combine something logically. I'm just going to do a small demonstration. I have, let's grab this. If I come over here, and I have 2 signals. If I put them together like that, well, the whole signal is going to be on if one of them's powered or if the other one's powered, and if both of them are powered. This is an OR right here. The only time where this signal is turned off is when both the input signals are turned off. That's what an OR is. An AND is slightly different. We're going to use something called De Morgan's law, which states that the negation of an OR, so keep in mind, an OR was built like this, and if you were to take this and negate the end, how do you do that? Like this. So if the OR results in a 1, this results in a 0, right? If there's one torch lighting it up, it's still off. If there's another torch lighting it up, it's still off. But if there's none, the end is on. That's the opposite of an OR. This is a NOR right there. What I want to do is I want to make one condition and one condition only turn this on. Well, here's our condition. Both of them have to be off. But we can make it a little bit more complicated than that. If we separate those out a little more, and we do that, rather, we go ahead and put repeaters here for something called surge protection, which is essentially we're no longer lighting up the whole pathway. Oh no, that doesn't work, right? That way, it's just this end part that gets lit up. Right? Now, you know, I want to make sure I find a way to get an AND out of this. I want to end this video by creating an AND gate. What I'm going to do is the opposite of an OR. I take 2 signals. The first thing I do is I negate them. Because remember how there was only one way to make an OR with both of these negated. Remember when both of these are turned off, That's the one way that both of those will be turned on. And when both of them are on, that's the only way that this one's turned off. That's the point that I'm trying to make. When both of these are turned on, and I go ahead and I negate this, boom. That's what I was looking for. Both of these signals have to be on so that this signal is off. If one of these signals comes back on, one of these torches comes back on and turns the signal back on. So both of these have to be off, both of these have to be on to turn this middle step off so that the end step is on. When both of these are on, 1 and 1, and they make a 1. In any other scenario, when it's just one of them turned on, it's an off. When it's the other one turned off, it's off. And if both of them are turned off, it's an off. Right? So we can kind of think about it in the sense of that comparator. We can think about this as like the input signal, and this is the side signal. But the only thing is, we just need to negate it one more time, right? How do I negate it one more time? Boom. Just like that. I've made a comparator. Look at this. This is the input right here. This should always travel all the way through. But because I turned on this signal, it's not let through, is it? And so no matter what I change this to, it's always going to be off at the end. No matter what I change it to. Off. Take that away. It's off. But if I take away this input, which is this is the one off to the side, right? On a comparator, this is this input right here. If I turn this off, the current's let through. Look at that, I made a comparator. So at the end of the day, oops, I don't know why I said oops. At the end of the day, look at this. Okay, I figured out what a comparator is. This side is a repeater. Very simply, if I just throw a repeater right there, because a repeater is just a double negation, right? I think I put one over here. Whoa. I think I put one over here, right? This is our current best repeater, is you negate the signal and then negate it again. But now that we went to the nether, and we have these beautiful tools at our disposal, this is a comparator. But think about what a repeater is. A repeater just duplicates the signal. So you know what else is a repeater? Or a comparator? That's a comparator. I've just built a simple comparator. Now, this doesn't have all the functions of a regular comparator because a comparator has the ability to do stuff like this. Other way around. It has the ability to do stuff like this. Mine would just not be able to do that right now in its current form. But look at that. When this is turned on, that is turned off, no matter what. No matter if this is on or off, that's always off. But I stop supplying power, then that current is let through. There's our comparator right there. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to keep the repeater there. Because you can do that. Remember how I just showed you how you can loop a comparator if you feed it with its own, thing. Right, think about this. If the output of this repeater gets fed back to its side, we can just rebuild that in this, right? We can take the output, and feed it back inside, and boom, we get it flashing on and off. Now, my repeater will short circuit because my repeater doesn't actually have that functionality. But look at that, isn't that pretty cool? How in Minecraft, you can build yourself your own comparator. I think we accomplished quite a bit. Now you know how a comparator works. And hopefully, you enjoyed seeing me doubt my confidence, because there was a moment there where I was definitely like, oh man, I don't know how to do this. But I figured it out, didn't I? I figured out how a comparator works. And now that I know how it works fundamentally, well, I can do all sorts of stuff. I can do all sorts of stuff. For example, here's a cool thing. You can create a one pulse output. What I mean by that is similar to a button where you press it once and it lets out a short burst. You can do that with this, but in just a slightly different way. If you feed this secondary input with a repeater, and you slow down that, when you put this on, it's only going to let out a short burst. Watch. Oh, it didn't work. I wonder why. I don't actually know why. But let me build it out of a real comparator, just to kind of show you. When you build this, look, we have our input signal, but this input signal is also being fed with a little bit of delay to the secondary comparator. So the output is just going to be one very short burst. Watch. I don't know if you saw that, but I'll try and zoom in. Keep an eye on the top left of the screen. Right? It just does a short little burst. What that's doing is it's sending a signal to the input. And because this repeater is holding that charge for a second, you know, repeaters can, maybe you don't know this, but a repeater can delay a signal by a pretty substantial amount. So you see this? Takes a second for it to pass all the way through. So what this will do is it will delay the signal from reaching this secondary port and turning off the output. But that takes, I think it takes 3 ticks. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it takes 3 ticks. So this will be let through. It'll be let all the way through. But then once it gets through the repeater and sends another signal in, boom, it blocks it. That's how you can make a very short pulse in Minecraft. Because buttons, look how long buttons go for. How do I make a button? A button lasts forever. 1 Mississippi, right? It takes forever. But if you have this little delay, oops. If you have, keep an eye on the left side of the screen. Boom, you see how it cleans up that output? It turns it into a much shorter pulse. That's a pretty cool thing in Minecraft. You can create a very small pulse. And I'm realizing now, I am out of time. So, I'm going to go ahead. Last time, we ended off by creating a simple NOT gate. Today, I taught you how to make an OR gate, an AND gate, and a comparator. So let's, for one last time, build this comparator. You start with a signal, and then you negate your signal. Then you feed it into an OR with another signal. Typically, in a robust fashion, this signal would be held behind a repeater for simple surge protection. Unfortunate. But surge protection meaning that current only flows one way. You see how this torch lights up the current but it doesn't let it through here. But if I turn off that torch, current is let through like that. Adding these two signals together, which I'm going to make it a little skinnier. I say adding these together. What I mean is ORing those two signals together and negating it gives you a comparator. Look at that. That is the exact same as this. Oops. You see how the inputs and outputs are the exact same? And let me put a torch and show you. Let me grab this torch really quick. I swear I'm almost done. If I put one here, it goes right through. If I put one here, it goes right through. If I put one here, it doesn't go right through. And if I put one here, it doesn't go right through. Wait a second. You gotta turn on the comparison. Mine is just on by default. But, yeah. Isn't that pretty cool? So, I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm gonna feed the cows one last time before my chair squeaks really loudly. Give me my bread and give me my wheat. Oh, keep dropping my pork. Come here, you two. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, thank you for watching. If you like this, I'm glad. And I'm gonna see you, hopefully, tomorrow. Bye-bye.